Welcome back to Great Lakes Junction, everyone. A couple of new shop lights to install today. My son got me these for my birthday. So we got LED lights. These are 4-foot long, look like your traditional fluorescent tube style lights. Now there's a couple of different ways you could put these in. Since these already come with an electrical cord to be plugged in and they have a pull chain on the end to turn them on and off, I'm not going to bother changing that and wiring them in directly. So we have two of the older standard fluorescent type lights in here currently, and you can see to the left of that, this garage originally just had an incandescent bulb fixture there, and there was another one over on this side of the garage. Those no longer work. Anyhow, I suspect they've just jumped wires from that box where the old light was over to the fluorescent. So I'll have to get up into the attic of the garage and change some wiring around, I'm sure. So the original lights, we're going to move them down further in the garage, and we're going to put these new ones up at this end. We're going to turn them in the other direction from what that currently is, and I'm just going to leave the pull chains hanging down on them. So we've got a receptacle up there where the garage door opener is plugged in. We're going to change that to a double, so it'll be two receptacles. So we'll plug the lights into one of them, and it's live all the time, obviously, for the garage door opener to function. So with the pull chains on the other lights, then we can just turn them on as we need them. So we don't need all 4 lights on in here, then we don't have to have them all on. Another option would have been to install another light switch, and you could put the 4 lights on one switch, or leave the 2 on the switch that's currently on the wall for these, and then just add another switch, more wiring, and have the 2 new lights completely wired separate that way. But that'd be a lot more work, and the wall that the light switch is on is an insulated wall, so getting wiring in the wall and stuff would all be a lot more difficult, and there's no real need to do it for this application. You have to forgive the sloppy drywall tape job that someone did. That was not my work. It is on the list of things to repair out here sometime, but as this being the garage, it's kind of last on the list after everything else is done. The old light we just took down, so we have a bit of a wasp nest there, a couple more along the wires there. We have a big one started up there in the end in there. So now I forget what kind of wasp you call it that makes those little mud cocoons, but we'll clean all them out, clean these lights all up and stuff before we put them back in again. So we removed the old light fixtures. Wires are all disconnected. We removed the receptacle plug where the garage door opener was plugged in, and we enlarged the hole to accept the double box up there. And we've marked out, we have our holes punched in the ceiling where we're moving those lights to for the old style lights that had the wire that needs to come through. So we're ready to go up into the attic. It is getting very warm up there already. So I think hopefully I have all my tools, everything I need up there to go up, do what I need to do, and be done in one shot. Well, the lighting's not real good up here. I hate working in attics. They're hot and typically cramped, so you gotta crawl around in them. So we have some plywood, scrap plywood pieces spread out across the ceiling joist so we can try and distribute our weight and not get on the drywall, because you'll just end up back down in the garage real quick. Okay, so we have our wires connected. Everything is, all the ground wires are now attached. We have our box screwed into our floor joist, or ceiling joist rather. Hopefully that box, when I get down below, hopefully it's flush with the drywall from the bottom side, so I don't have to come back up here and adjust the height of it, but I may have to. So our wiring is in the other boxes that were used for the original lights, so we can finish the wiring on those from down below instead of the heat up here. The only other thing I need to do is take a couple of measurements. The ceiling joists are 24-inch on center up here, so I need to make sure I know exactly where they are from below, so when I put the screws through the lights, I'm actually getting them screwed into those ceiling joists and not just the drywall alone. So I'll take a couple of measurements and we'll go back down and get out of the heat that's up here. So looking at our box from down below here now, it is a little bit crooked, but we're not sticking down below the drywall. So I think when the switch plate cover goes on, it'll cover everything up and you won't see all of this. They cut the drywall right to the edge of this other sheet here, so there might be a small gap here that the switch plate cover does not hide, but other than that, that'll be all right. Okay, on to the wiring. Now we're moving right along. So you can see that round white circle on the ceiling. That was where the original incandescent bulb fixture was that we removed. So our wire's been reconnected and we put cover plates on them. The existing lights we had that we've now moved, we have located down closer to the garage door end of things here. We've got our double receptacle added and our garage door openers plugged back in. So now we're ready to get the new lights. And we're going to leave a 4-foot gap between the end of that fluorescent one and where we start to put our new one. So we'll do those now. Okay, one new light installed. So what we're doing with these, I'll show you before we do the second one. So pull the bulbs out of it, and this shield or reflective shield for the light, there's 2 screws, one there, one down there. So we're going to take those 2 screws out and remove the reflector shield. And as I said, the ceiling joists up here were 24-inch on center. So they had intended in the instructions of putting a hook through the slot and through that hole and hanging these from a chain. We're going to drill holes in here so that our 24-inch centers will line up and screw it directly into the ceiling joist, so there'll never be an issue of it falling down at all, and it keeps them up nice and high and tight to the ceiling. Okay, so I want to do 4-foot space between the lights. So that means my other light is going to start and it's not an exact science. Somewhere around there is going to be the beginning of my light. And I know that there is a stud at the end of this drywall sheet. So the next one's going to be 24 inches over. It's going to put it over here. So that is into our light by 17 inches from where our light's going to start to where our next ceiling joist is. So 17 inches from the end of the light, I want to drill a hole in it. So there's 17 inches from the end of the light, and now we know our ceiling joists are 24 inches on center, so if we go 24 inches from that one, So the holes are not centered in the light by any means, but 2 screws in those locations directly into the ceiling joist is more than enough to hold the weight of that light up. Okay, it's a little hard to tell on the video. So right now that is the 2 older lights existing in the garage. So that's really all the lighting we had in here. So let's shine this at the floor. We'll turn the new ones on now. And that lights things up much more in here. So it'll be good for working on the car, woodworking, whatever. We'll be able to see exactly what we want to see now. So that concludes this project. Once again, thank you very much for watching.